Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the epic return of the Retro Wrestling Review Series. I am Owen Finch, and I'm here with
Chris.
So yeah, we haven't done this in a while. Pretty much I'll just say it real quick, but if you've watched our channel update video and other things like that, we haven't done this because of school, and then obviously I went to North Carolina, so obviously this had to be put on the back burner, but we're back doing these again. We're hoping we can get back to doing these weekly like we were before, because I don't want because we were actually doing well getting these up there every week. I think we were doing like once a week, so
it was a lot. We were doing them a lot. We were very consistent.
Yeah. So we want to, get back to consistency with this, and obviously the Wrestling Rundown as well. Obviously, the Wrestling Rundown hasn't been consistent because, I wasn't watching the main roster, and obviously, again, went to North Carolina. So there you go. But yeah, let's talk about the epic show that we picked to return the show with. Probably, it's Chris's pick, which we always notice, by the way. We always take hiatus every time it's your pick, too.
Yep.
Maybe I don't know why it's not like we planned that out. It just always kind of happens that way. It's always your pick that gets, is when we go on a hiatus. So I don't know why that happens, but it just happens that way. Since this was your pick, why don't you say the show, and why don't you say why you picked this show?
I take no pleasure in announcing this show whatsoever. It's one of the worst shows I've ever watched in my entire life, and this is my version of watching Battleground 2017 is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And my version is watch it in 5 minutes because you don't need to watch them. You don't even need to watch the whole show to know what the hell happened because it's so memorable for being so shitty.
Yep. I mean, obviously, though, if you haven't seen the show, you have to watch it just to know you have to watch the whole show just to know how shitty it is. But if you've seen the show like Chris has, you could just watch it in 5 minutes because
it's just so bad. You don't want to suffer through it.
And me and Chris had always talked about how we had to do a bad professional wrestling show eventually because we've been doing, good ones. But what do we do in the Retro Wrestling Review Series for if we don't do the bad ones? The bad ones have to get talked about. So
eventually we were going to get there again.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
you did a bad one.
Yeah, the last bad one we did was you weren't there, but was King of the Ring 1995. That was the last bad one I did. So
about a year ago now, right?
Yeah, you weren't there though. That was just me and John for that one. So yeah, we're here to do Battleground 2017. Think about it too. It's been like a little under 2 years since the show has happened, and I think it's even worse to kind of watch it in hindsight in a way because a lot of the guys that were on this show really didn't go very far in their WWE careers. So that's what we'll say right now.
It's really bad.
So let's talk about Battleground 2017. Some fun facts, even though they're not very fun because nothing about this show except one match is fun. So this was the first show, post Cut in the Pyro. I believe it was because I believe they cut the pyro and then this show happened. So this was the first show where they cut the
reason why the pyro was cut.
Yeah, so they cut the pyro, but yet they're gonna fund the XFL. Great stuff right there. So this was because basically it was announced that Vince was funding the XFL like around this time frame. We knew it was coming. We just it was more speculated than official. Isn't that a great idea, Chris? Let's cut our pyro, but let's just fund a whole nother,
doing something.
Brand. There you go. Let's also, think about signing Gronkowski instead of, he's gonna get. That's the thing. If they sign Gronk, he's gonna get all the pyro money we want. So
he's gonna get all that pyro.
Yeah. Fuck that. That's not that. But that's a topic for another day. So let's talk about the actual show itself. And also, I want to mention, too, this was the last Battleground that's ever aired, because they didn't do one last year.
It was so bad they stopped doing it.
Yeah. So I think that should show you how bad this show was. That they, didn't do, anything. Or, they didn't do another one afterwards, so... I just made it sound like, afterwards they just stopped doing pay-per-views. Like, no, they just stopped doing Battleground. But let's get to the, the actual, the pre-show, we had the panel of Renee Young, Jerry the King Lawler, who was a part-time and just would randomly just maybe he wanted to see the shit that was about to form, because Jerry the King Lawler did say this is going to be a memorable show that no one will ever forget. That should have
Yeah, well, they were right.
yeah, that should have been a red flag right there. Sam Roberts, who's apparently the last professional broadcaster. Apparently, they don't watch the Wrestling Observer. Just saying. And David Otunga, who, when Renee says his name, he's got to say everything that he's accomplished in life. Like how he's an actor and everything. And if Renee misses one thing, David Otunga's like, oh, you missed something. Yeah, big deal. Yeah, how did your WWE career turn out that you can't even you don't even have matches anymore? You just stuck up there on the panel now. Great career right there, David Otunga. But yeah, as for where they're all now, I just pretty much said Renee Young now does commentary for Raw. And she's not bad at it, but obviously you could see that, with the way the main roster has it. Huh?
She's definitely held back.
Yeah, definitely. Go watch the Mae Young.
She was in NXT. She was amazing.
And the Mae Young Classic. And then obviously on the main roster, she's very held back because she's got to be so face heavy too. It just affects her commentary work. And then Jerry the Kid Lawler is pretty much doing the same thing he was doing 2 years ago. Part timer comes in every now and then for a panel or a comment to do commentary.
Yeah, he's been doing that more often than not. Occasional, like you said, occasional commentator.
And then Sam Roberts, basically the same thing. He'll come in for a panel for an NXT takeover or the main roster, and he hates his life on the main roster. So there you go. Because you can tell, when he has to do the main roster ones, he's lost sleep or something like that. He dreads doing them. So, and then David Otunga doing the exact same thing, except he's had a divorce 2 years later. So there you go. Then we had the commentary team for both the main show and the pre-show. JBL, Tom Phillips, and Byron Saxon. Tom Phillips and Byron Saxon are still the commentary team because this was a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. So, and this show I think shows why they had to combine both brands and make and not do single branded pay-per-views anymore. Because they were like, you know what, SmackDown, you kind of suck right now. Why don't we have Raw come in here and help you? So, even though it wasn't any SmackDown's fault at all. So, but yeah, Tom Phillips and Byron Saxon are still the full-time SmackDown commentary team, and JBL, pretty much right after SummerSlam in 2017, is also the same thing as Ken. He's the part-time commentator now. He'll come in for I think he only does it for WrestleMania. I know he's been in for SummerSlams and such, but he does panels and such, but he only commentates for WrestleMania physically, and the Tribute to the Troop shows too. He was there.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually kind of, when you watch this show, I'm happy that he's just a part-time commentary team because, some of the lines that he would say were just awful. So there you go. I'm just gonna run right through these interviews real quick because they will, whatever. John Cena gets interviewed about his flag match, and it's a John Cena, match coming up. You would expect him to say, "Oh, I have the odds stacked against me," even though he's beaten Rusev multiple times. They only had the odds stacked. Yeah. If only had the odds stacked, and he was worried too, that he wasn't gonna get the American flag, and be able to he was worried that Bulgaria was gonna get their flag raised. Oh my gosh, a country outside the United States is gonna get their flag raised. It's so drastic right there. I like how they tried to make it seem that this could be, the biggest match of John Cena's career, and when it's just a freaking flag match that means nothing. Come on.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking flag match. Who cares?
Yeah, we'll get into that more though, when we talk about the build up to that match. Then we had it was Carmella, but I guess I hated this show so much, I wrote Cameron by accident. I don't know who that is, but it's Cameron. So
Cameron.
And, she got interviewed on the panel and talked about the women's fatal 5-way, but she just basically promoted it because at the time she was the 2-time Miss Money in the Bank contract winner. because they had to redo the match because the first man was so bad. And I just want to point into perspective that during the pre-show, the crowd was very rowdy throughout the show, chanting things like, Jerry the King Lawler to come back for one more match. Carmella sucks, cash in the contract. Remember how rowdy the crowd was in the pre-show. Just remember that, because that ties into the whole show pretty much. So yeah, there you go. Carmella just basically too. Carmella was there for no reason because yeah, she had to pay for a flight. She had to pay for hotel. All just to show up and not wrestle. You could say too she got paid just to show up and do nothing, but yeah, if you would have probably post how much Carmella was paying for the travel here and stuff, I don't think she really made any more than she then I don't think she made more money than after the show aired. So did she really win in the end? So then AJ Styles gets interviewed, and he had just won the U.S. title, and he talks about how he's going to retain it, and he wants to make the U.S. title the World Class belt, and he says that Kevin Owens is unable to do that because he's unable to represent America. It was actually a good promo, one of the few good things of the show. But yeah, the U.S. title though didn't become the World Class belt with how their match ended. We'll get into that. And then Kevin Owens gets interviewed, and he was basically disgusted with everything AJ Styles said. And he says that, he's going to destroy AJ Styles and take the U.S. title and embarrass him tonight. Which, he was embarrassed, but not for the reason that you would have thought, though. We'll get into that later on in the show. Then we had the Q&A segment with Mike and Maria Kanellis. We'll get into the story. Yeah. Remember these great segments they used to do with the Q&A segments where they would have fans that you could clearly see that they picked the questions that they wanted on Twitter?
Do you know what the crazy part is?
What's that?
If you noticed in this is the height of Mike Kanellis' drug addiction.
Yep.
Because he's fucking shredded now. He was out of shape there. It just just watching that and seeing him now, you can see how far along he's come.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that when we got to the match, but yeah, you pretty much just you could definitely we'll just talk about it now. Mike Kanellis obviously didn't have the best start in his WWE career. Because I'll just put it, booking wise, his gimmick sucked. I mean, he doesn't really have this gimmick now. He still has the theme song, but you can just see his gimmicks. The love thing is definitely not a thing. I don't know who the Power of Love storyline was supposed to be written for, because it was definitely really bad. I think when he debuted at Money in the Bank, everyone was kind of this is how you debut Mike Kanellis.
Yeah,
because it was stupid. And then I don't know if it was just written for them, or if they wanted, this was just a love fest, so that way Mike and Maria Kanellis could get themselves in the mood to have a kid, because right a couple months after the storyline happened, Maria Kanellis got pregnant. So, but yeah,
surprise.
Yeah. But also, so yeah, booking and Mike Kanellis too was just yeah, he was just they basically brought him in, and he was just known as Maria Kanellis's husband. Because on commentary they always would say he took her last name. They clearly Maria Kanellis was the only one that was going to benefit from this storyline. This did no favors for Mike Kanellis.
Oh no, it definitely did.
But also too, personally, we found out now that it was obviously the worst time of his life, because he was obviously dealing with the drug addiction. And I think Mike and Maria Kanellis were going to have a kid anyways. So, I feel like that also affected it. Because obviously Mike Kanellis really wasn't doing... What should have happened was he should have gone... I know he didn't need to go to NXT, but I feel like he definitely would have benefited going to NXT first. And being, in the Undisputed Era, because I think that would have benefited Mike Kanellis so much better. And he could have gotten over himself without having to be known as, Maria Kanellis' husband. And, he would have had some time without Maria Kanellis to adjust to the WWE schedule. And he would have been able to get clean probably faster because it's not like you work a lot of dates in NXT anyways. So
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this was and obviously this is the typical Q&A segment where they ask questions that that they've clearly picked. Like they asked a question, how do I find love? Like what wrestling fan's gonna ask a wrestler how to find love? Like
How
come
do you
on,
find?
huh?
Is it? Can you find it?
Uh
Love. Is it
yeah,
available to be found?
and then Mike Kanellis though, like there was some weird Twitter name, and Mike Kanellis like called it out, and I think this was actually like him shooting, like he's like, what kind of Twitter name is that? Because you could totally hear like he just kind of went completely out of character when that happened. Like, it was pretty funny. But yeah, this was like this was probably the lowest of Mike Kanellis' career, ever. Like I'm saying, ever in professional wrestling, ever. So there you go. But then we finally got the match, which we can both talk about. It was Aiden English versus Ty Dillinger. No reason for the match, just a random match. They had like several matches where this Ty Dillinger just kept winning and winning. And Aiden English, this was remember the days like where we used to lose and he would just cry right afterwards?
Oh
Like
yeah.
this was definitely the lowest points of both of their careers because Aiden English just went singles, like pretty much, right at this point. And he went back to his sitting. He got caught up to the main roster. He was really over, and WWE didn't like the 10 chant, so they basically buried him. And this was really nothing horrible, just a typical kickoff match. I did like the near fall that Aiden English got when he hit the implanted DDT. I actually like that move. I think that's cool. And then eventually, Ty Dillinger's punching him like 10 times in the corner. And then eventually Aiden English throws him face first into the turnbuckle. And then he hits like some type of full Nelson flapjack move. You wouldn't know because Tom Phillips can't call wrestling moves for his life. So there you go. They were just busy talking about Aiden English crying instead of calling the match. So there you go. And Aiden English gets the win. And this is definitely a 2-star match. Nothing more than that.
No.
And guess what? This did nobody any favors because Ty Dillinger, basically this was his like last of like a full-time stint in WWE. He basically like had his he's probably had more matches in AEW right now than WWE like main roster wise. Because he like never showed up on the main roster.
No, he didn't at all.
And I wonder why Ty Dillinger would ask for his release. By the way, just saying. And now he's in AEW. Huh?
How dare you do that?
Yeah. And now he's in AEW, and he's probably gonna thrive there because he's because he can actually get over and get over in the right way, and not get no one's gonna get mad at him for getting over. So there you go. 88 English, pretty much stayed singles, and then he went into he did the Rusev Day thing with Rusev shortly after this, and then because like I said, again ties in with Ty Dillinger because Rusev Day got too over, they broke them up, and now Aiden English, which sucks, but it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Rusev Day failing allowed Aiden English to do commentary, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's fantastic on commentary. Like he's so good, he should just be in it. As much as I like Beth Phoenix on commentary, he should be down there with Nigel and Morrow. He would be awesome down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, whoever would have thought Aiden English 2 years like over a little under 2 years later would be doing commentary? I don't think anyone would have pictured that.
No, I wouldn't have. I thought he'd still be wrestling.
Yeah, I mean he's still wrestling. I think he wrestles live events. Because he wrestled at
the main roster, like on Raw or SmackDown. Or 205. Like I didn't expect him to be like a commentator.
Yeah, and he's awesome. He's like fantastic. Like it's really not that. If you think about it, it's kind of not a surprise that he's so good at it because he was awesome on the mic then. So it's like not a surprise. But yeah, he's awesome on he's probably one of the best commentators in the company, probably. And then we have Jinder Mahal show up and get interviewed, but you don't know what he says because they did it in Hindi. Because they were trying to get over in the the Indian market. But we'll get into that later on in the show. And that was the kickoff. Basically, you don't need to see it because there's nothing really worth seeing. So main roster just sucks at doing kickoff shows, pretty much.
They've had some good ones though.
Yeah, but when you watch NXTs compared to this, it's like really bad. So, then we had the actual show itself. We had the first and only good match. Actually, I'm gonna read my star ratings for each match, and you can kind of guess. We have
I just
4
want to
stars.
get the first match is the best.
Yeah, 4 stars, a star, star and a half, 2 stars, a star and a half, 1 star, and then minus 4 3/4 stars. I think you can guess what match has minus 4 3/4 stars.
I can only guess.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's what I just want everyone to know, like my star ratings for each match. So, we have the first match though, and if you watch the first match and nothing else on the show, you're doing yourself a big favor.
Because it was awesome.
SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos versus Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods with Big E inside. This was, the height of the great tag team clinic matches between the New Day and the Usos. Obviously
5-star Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, that I was gonna get into that. Like that, this match has nothing on that great 5-star Hell in a Cell match. But we'll get it. Maybe when we talk about the aftermath, we'll say that story again because it's pretty damn fun. But they were both dominant tag teams. This is a flaw though. I really love how they say like the Usos are the best tag team in this decade, and that might be true. But in this decade, there really hasn't been a lot of tag team greats. Like they've all been like up until 2012, they were all like thrown together tag teams that had no business being a tag team. So, just saying. The Usos really didn't have a lot. Oh, it's tag teams that have been booked to crap. So, the Usos really don't have a lot to live up to. So, there you go. But yeah, they were the Usos were very dominant in 2014. When they won the tag team titles, because that's really where they started to get, popular because it was like crap before that.
This is after the gimmick change too.
Yeah, pretty much. And then
not long before this, they turned heel.
And then meanwhile, when they lost the tag team titles, they pretty much got injured right afterwards. And I actually like how they pointed this out. What match was it that the Usos got injured in? It was a match with the New Day. So, wish they would have talked about that, before the feud, instead of just on commentary that the Usos would have said that, because really would have made the feud personal, but they didn't say that. And then, what tag team got really, big and really popular while the Usos were gone? It was the New Day, because then the New Day got really over. They were they were the longest reigning tag team champions in 2016 while the Usos were gone. And then eventually the brand split happened. The New Day dominated Raw. The Usos dominated SmackDown. Then they had the gimmick change, and they turned heel. And they won the SmackDown tag team titles earlier in the year, and they were just putting on clinics. No matter what tag team they were facing. And then the Superstar Shakeup happened, the first one of the brand split. And there's probably not going to be another one. So, and the New Day got drafted over to SmackDown, or shaken up over to SmackDown, because that's what they say. And I think we just knew it was going to be a matter of time before the New Day and the Usos clash, because we knew that match was coming. We just didn't know when it was coming. And we finally got the match. The New Day debuted on SmackDown. I forget exactly how the match was set up. I think they won some type of number one contenders match or something. I really don't. Or they just came out and just said, "We're gonna have a title match. You're gonna face them." It was probably something like that. And they had the match at Money in the Bank. It was awesome, but the Usos got themselves counted out to retain their titles, which ruined the match. And then the feud intensified from there. Then they had a rematch. And then they had the epic rap battle between the Usos and the New Day. Where the Usos were calling out Kofi Kingston for being a phony Jamaican. The New Day were calling out the Usos, how they had been in the company for so long, but are just now hitting the stride. The Usos calling out Xavier Woods' sex tape in that rap battle.
That was fucking hilarious. And everyone knew it right away, too.
Yeah,
It was
and you could
not
tell.
long after that got leaked.
Yeah.
We're talking maybe a week or two.
Yeah. And then the feud just continued to intensify. Then it led to this match. And obviously, one thing I don't like about this feud, though, is they tried to make it seem like that they hadn't clashed at all before this feud, even though at the Royal Rumble 2016 they had a match with each other. So it's like, what happened? Like, did you forget that they had matches with each other before? Like, come on, like, because they had matches with each other doing, when the New Day were the longest like tag team champions, and the Usos were still like the baby face, like doing that, like, and Samoan entrance.
Yeah.
I guess like because it wasn't these Usos, it was completely different story. No, it was the same Usos, the same guys. Stop it.
They weren't wearing the fucking the swim trunks.
No. So we had the match, and it's an excellent match. I really liked how it was Kofi and Xavier Woods that went in this time. I thought it actually made the match a little better, not discrediting Big E, but yeah, I thought, like it was a nice, because I don't think they had ever teamed. I think this was the first time, like, Kofi and Xavier Woods have, like, teamed up in the New Day.
Yeah.
Because it was always, because this is when Xavier Woods, like, was wrestling more, frequently in the New Day. It was always just Kofi and Big E teaming up in the New Day. So, and they start off with a Bane. And, obviously, with how this show goes, that Bane didn't last long. So,
yeah.
Kofi and Xavier Woods do some quick tag team moves with like splashes and such and like leg drops. It was pretty damn awesome. But then the Usos take control. They dominate Xavier Woods because Xavier Woods is obviously the guy that takes the heat. I don't know why he is, but he is. He went for like the honor roll early, and one of the Usos took him out. If you've ever watched an Uso match, you can't tell which Uso is which. So
you can't. They did a good job of like getting the same fucking tattoos. You can't fucking tell them apart anymore.
Yeah, so you have to just say one Uso when you review the Uso match because you don't know which one it is. So, unless they tell you, but I wonder if on commentary they're just even guessing themselves like it's that Uso, like because there's no way they can know. The Usos dominated Xavier Woods for a long ass time. They do the running hip attack in the corner, and obviously get a near fall, and then eventually Kofi Kingston gets the hot tag, and he starts going off on both Usos, and he goes for the trust fall, and this was like when he was, that move was fairly new. He had just started doing the trust fall, like dive on the outside. The Usos catch him and do a double powerbomb on the floor. And Kofi Kingston's basically out of this match until like the end, pretty much. And Xavier Woods does a drop kick to the outside. And he goes for a dive, but the Usos catch him, and I believe they do like some type of like power bomb on the apron. And throughout the next several minutes of the matchup, the Usos just kill Xavier Woods. They do the double super kick. Xavier Woods kicks out. One of the Usos does the splash from the top rope. Xavier Woods kicks out. Xavier Woods goes for the elbow drop, like from halfway across the ring. And the other Russo just comes in and catches him right with a super kick, which was awesome.
Dead.
And yeah, he's pretty much dead. And Xavier, but he wasn't dead because he kicked out of it. So unless he like reanimated or something, he was dead. And then eventually, Xavier Woods hits the honor roll, and the other Russo like falls to the outside. I forget what happens to him off the top of my head. And Kofi Kingston hits the Trouble in Paradise, and then they hit the up, up, down, down, which when Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods do it, it's like a backbreaker into like a double stomp. And Xavier Woods hits the honorable elbow, which is like, an elbow drop, and he does it like, off the ropes, and he does it like halfway across the ring.
Yeah,
like
pretty far.
Yeah. And he gets the win, and the New Day become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, which kind of sucked. I thought the Usos, were doing good as tag team champions around this time, and I didn't think it was time for them to lose. But they really weren't a lot of tag teams like credible enough to really, go against the Usos at this point. So they didn't really have much of a choice. And yeah, I thought it was a great tag team match. I don't know if this is the best match out of like the ones I've seen them have. I would have to watch the SummerSlam match again. I mean, it doesn't take the cake though with that 5-star Hell in a Cell match. So,
oh yeah,
but yeah, great match. I definitely give it 4 stars. It's a great tag team match. I do question though if people kind of overrate this match a little bit because it's a lot of people say this is a great match, but it is. But I feel like people overrate it because it's on, such a shitty show that they think this is like a 5-star match. No, it's not the case. It's a 4-star match. You're just, you're comparing gold to a pile of shit. So obviously you're going to overrate a match. So, yeah. So before I break down what happened with all these teams afterwards, any additional thoughts you have about this match and the star rating?
Yeah. I give it a 4. I give it a 4-star.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a great match. It's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, do you question if people overweight the match because it's on like such a shit show, or do you think people would give it 4?
I think people I think it's a 4-star match.
Yeah.
And on any other card.
Yeah.
I think it's just it's probably a tiny bit overrated because after this it's like it's a fucking steep fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
You don't even get like a little gradual fall. This is like you step out your front door and then straight down.
Yeah.
Like you get no earth in front of you.
Yep.
No ground, nothing. You walk, you take that one step, and you're down into the pit of nothingness.
Yep. And then the aftermath is they would continue this feud. I think this is a bit of an overrated feud because they kept doing the match so much it got annoying. You could put on click matches, but if it's the same match over and over again, it gets annoying. It's because now it's at the point where I never want to see them wrestle again. Because they had a match at SummerSlam, which was on the kickoff show, which was kind of stupid because they got rewarded for having the best match on the show by being put on the kickoff show. Come on.
Oh yeah.
But also too, it's also kind of when you look at the SummerSlam code, it had to be on the kickoff because there were certain matches that you couldn't put on the kickoff, so they just kind of suffered because of that. If we ever do a retro for SummerSlam, I could talk more about that. Then that's when the Usos won. That's probably my favorite match that they've had is probably the SummerSlam kickoff match. And then then they had the rematch on SmackDown, and the New Day won the titles back. Why they did the rematch on SmackDown was stupid. And then they had why don't you kind of say this story, the 5-star Hell in a Cell match?
Well, they had a Hell in a Cell match with a lot of comedy spots in it, and James thought it'd be a great idea to give it a 5-star match. It is. It's a fucking 5-star Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
5 stars.
I still remember we did an episode that day, and he was burying the Wrestling Observer's credibility, and the thumbnail of that video is "Rest in Peace, Wrestling Observer," from whatever. I think I don't know how we found it, but we found it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember too, we did a moment of silence for the Wrestling Observer's credibility, and pretty much James tried to get him dig himself out of the hole, but he could. We were not, me, you, and John were not letting him dig himself out of that hole.
Nope, definitely not.
Which I really look forward to doing a retro of Hell in a Cell that year. And having James watch that match 2 years later, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then pretty much that was the end of the feud. So we thought. We knew they were doing another match. They did another match at Fastlane where they got destroyed and there was no winner. Then they had the triple threat at WrestleMania where none of them won. And then pretty much that was kind of the end of the feud. They've had matches recently. It's not like they've never had matches before. One of my favorite ones is when they did the gauntlet match. Obviously this was when Kofi was getting his push and the Usos just refused to wrestle him because they knew they were just taking away a spot for Kofi to get the WWE title match. And whoever would have thought, too, 2 years later, Kofi Kingston would be WWE champion today,
Definitely
too.
not me. As much as I wanted it to happen, definitely not me.
Yeah, so that's definitely, definitely awesome right there. And the New Day continues to be, like, one of the hottest acts in the company. They definitely were getting stale, like, around 2017, 2018, but I think that's one good thing about Kofi's push is it's actually revigorated the New Day now. Like, they were getting stale around this time, but, when Kofi got hot, the New Day even got hot, so.
Oh, yeah.
And now they do crappy
story again.
Yeah, now they're doing crappy storylines where they question whether Kofi would be where he is without the New Day. He would have been in 2010, but then Randy Orton stood in his way. So,
yeah, exactly.
That's why everyone. And then they're doing crappy storylines with I just hate that a lot. That they're doing crappy storylines now. Like they're saying, "Oh, you wouldn't have gotten the title." It's like, is the main roster? Yeah, the main roster like you without the New Day, or if you didn't get so over, it's the main like. He got the title, guys. You don't need to tell us that. And then you have the Usos, who unfortunately have kind of fallen off like a bit of a cliff because they're on Raw now and they're doing comedy skits where they're putting, Uso hot on like people's dicks or wrestling tights, and stuff like that. And basically on 2018, they were like not on television at all, really. They were like off TV most of the year. So the Usos benefited from this win, but they definitely didn't benefit in the Usos in the New Day feud as much as they should have. They've I think they've kind of cooled off significantly since the 2017 one.
Yeah.
They definitely on as because they turned face too right after the New Day feud too, because they basically didn't have
at the beginning of January of the next year.
Yeah,
roughly. Probably no, it was like December.
Yeah, it was like right after the Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
So then I'll let. Unfortunately, now we got to talk about the rest of the show because I'll say too, when I grade shows, I always start at like a B minus, and it either can get better or worse. At this point, it was probably at like a B plus. The next match brings it down to like a C probably. It's going
down and down and down and down.
Yeah, we have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin. Why don't you talk about? I don't even know if you remember the feud going into the
I don't.
match. I'll say the feud.
I have no fucking clue. Like, I forgot.
The feud is Baron Corbin had won Money in the Bank, but before the match he like attacked Nakamura and prevented. No, he didn't prevent him from going in the match, but they say like that attack like prevented Nakamura from winning, even though he came out anyways and nearly won the match. So I don't know how that is the case. And then they just kept having brawls, and I think basically they didn't have anything for these guys to do, so they just threw them in a match with each other. That's all it was. Like they trying to say.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. I'm trying to find reasons, but that's like the main reason. And also this also just wasn't a good utilization for either guy. A lot of people, I could say this now in hindsight, like saw main event talent in Baron Corbin. What do you guys got to say for you? Everyone that hates Baron Corbin now, and was trying to tell me he's going to be a future champion then, you owe me a huge apology because he sucks. He's shit. And it's not like everyone thinks that it's like recent. No, he's always sucked. It's just
this guy's always been terrible.
And I'll just point. I don't even need to break down this match other by saying this. If you're having a 1-star match with Shinsuke, let me put. I'll just keep saying it. 1-star match with Shinsuke Nakamura, you're in the wrong business because that should not. Jinder Mahal has had better matches with Shinsuke Nakamura than Baron Corbin has. They're not, and Jinder Mahal matches aren't all that good either, but they're better than this match.
Match fucking sucked.
Yeah, this match sucked. And remember how I mentioned too, the crowd was really rowdy throughout the whole show. This killed the crowd.
Oh, fucking
yeah, it was just shit. Let's play a little trivia. Do you remember the finish?
El low blow.
Yeah, because Nakamura went.
Even though I fucking watched it at a couple hours ago.
Yeah, Nakamura went for the Kinshasa, and Baron Corbin was knocked out, and Nakamura he got frustrated, so he went to pick him up himself instead of going for the pinfall and whatnot. Because we knew Baron Corbin was playing possum, but if you're in like if you're in a match and like your opponent's not getting up, then you should go for the pinfall. Sorry, buddy, but that was stupid.
He picked up and he kicked him right in the dick.
Yep.
Right in it.
Maybe this is where Nakamura's balls obsession started too. He got kicked himself, so he like.
I'm never gonna let anyone kick me in the dick ever again.
Yeah, and then afterwards, and clearly this was just like a lame ass way because they didn't want to have Nakamura lose because he was still very hot and it was too early for him to lose, and Baron Corbin was Money in the Bank, so they didn't want him to lose. So then I question, why'd you book the match to begin with? Like, if you don't want any of the guys to lose, here's a lesson in wrestling booking. If you don't want any of you guys to lose, don't put guys that you don't want to lose in a match with each other, because that's typical wrestling 101 right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you don't, Baron Corbin, you didn't. Speaking of which, too, why did they all of a sudden care, too? They didn't want Baron Corbin to lose. They always have the Money in the Bank contract losers lose anyway, so what would be the difference here?
He just lost it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, he lost on SmackDown, like, the following Tuesday. Like, so why not just do the finish on SmackDown you did on the pay-per-view? But I guess, whatever. And then, afterwards, though, Baron Corbin wasn't done. Remember, too, Baron Corbin, this was, like, the Baron Corbin that, like, was the biker dude or whatever, like where he came out with like the hair, and he hadn't had his new theme song yet. He still had the first one that he had, and he came out with like the spotlight entrance, which was weird because he didn't do that in NXT, but they decided to do it on the main roster. And he beats down Nakamura afterwards, hits the end of days on him. And why don't you say what happened to Baron Corbin right after this match? Because it was not a gradual fall for Baron Corbin.
He did a little thing. He cashed in his Money in the Bank, and what did he do? He lost.
Yeah.
In embarrassing fashion.
After the champion had a match, too, by the way.
He lost, and it's kind of funny. It was funny. It was hilarious. And then he went in a feud with John Cena. You know what happened? They had a shitty match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It was
and what happened to Baron Corbin in that match?
He lost again.
Yeah. And pretty much, that now he's just like, annoying. He became, he won the U.S. title, which was a forgettable reign. Baron Corbin bragged about how he was a former U.S. champion now, but your reign's very forgettable, buddy. So you had 2 months, and he had shitty feuds for the title. So there you go. And then he went on to become the Raw General Manager. No, first it was what was it called before? It wasn't the Raw GM, but what was it called? The Constable. Yeah. And then he became the Raw General Manager, the interim Raw General Manager, then the Raw General Manager elect.
Acting manager.
Yep. And then he shaved his head bald, and just randomly, he just came out and he was like that. They didn't do a hair versus hair match.
Way better.
He has better. The only thing that's improved about Baron Corbin is his theme music, and it has nothing to do with him. It's just that the music's better. Like, you could give that song to anybody else that has the same gimmick as him, and they run with it. It doesn't even fit his gimmick now too, because he doesn't even dress the way he doesn't even dress like that anymore.
He's just like a waiter. He just is like a waiter.
Yeah. And then now he's gonna
Fridays.
And he got, and he was. There's one fun fact about Baron Corbin. He won most overrated wrestler of the year in the Wrestling Observer UN Awards in 2018. So just want to make sure you guys know that. And then obviously too, now he's going to challenge for the Universal title and probably lose. So there you go. And unfortunately though, Shinsuke Nakamura actually has made it far worse than Baron Corbin. He had a shitty feud with Jinder Mahal for the WWE title that he lost. That was actually his first loss too, by the way, in the main roster, was to Jinder Mahal. I want to make sure everybody knows that. That should have been the red flag that Nakamura's WWE career was only going to get worse from there. Because believe it or not, it got worse. He did nothing for the rest of the fall. Then he won the Rumble. We were very happy about that. We're like, okay, they're going to start getting behind Nakamura. And then the Nakamura AJ Styles feud flopped big time. Yeah, that should have been like that should be like the sign you don't know also how to book a wrestling company. If you have like Nakamura and AJ Styles like in a feud or match, and it's not even like a 5-star or like a 4-star match above a 4-star match, you should like hire new writers and all that. And then he had like two forgettable U.S. title reigns. And he's in a tag team with Rusev for no reason. And guess what? Apparently, he's been missing off television. He hasn't been on TV in what, like months?
Yeah, he's just in a dark match recently.
So, I would imagine after Nakamura's contract's up, he's going back to New Japan because I could, unless like something happens, like where he doesn't want to, where he doesn't want to like work that style, but I think he's going back to New Japan after.
I don't think he would. And not from a pure like WWE standpoint. He moved his entire family to Florida, so I don't think he wants to uproot his entire family because from what I heard, he loves Florida. So I don't think he wants to like uproot his family again and move back to Japan.
Yeah, or that he could go to by the time AEW could be awesome and he could go there. So
that could be an option.
Because that he wouldn't have to change his schedule. He wouldn't have to change his movement status then. So
no. Already signed. I think there was rumors going on that he might have signed an extension.
Well, Nakamura made a dumb decision, decided an extension because you can see that really it's really benefited him. Where he's not on television ever. So there you go.
Yeah, I think he signed an extension.
Then we have the next match. It's an elimination. By the way, I want to make sure everyone knows this.
That's right. Dave Meltzer pretty much confirmed it.
Yeah. It's an elimination match, by the way. Want to make sure everyone knows that. When the winner was going to face Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship at SummerSlam. With Naomi on commentary.
Yeah, he had that big grand fucking entrance.
Yeah. I don't really understand. I never felt the glow. I don't like that gimmick at all. I don't talk about it enough because I think I have before. And there's nothing I can do about it because she's going to keep that. Remember when the SmackDown Women's title was like a toy and glowed too?
Oh, that was awful.
I completely forgot about that.
I did too.
And here's the participants in the match. It's Becky Lynch versus Tamina Snuka versus Natalya versus Lana versus Charlotte Flair. Basically, this was just to throw all the women on the show. Why they didn't just do this match on SmackDown and just have this women's title match here, I never will understand. Because this basically was a match you could just see on SmackDown, just really a worse version of it. Because they were all in the Money in the Bank except Lana. Lana and Naomi had a history with each other because they decided stupidly to split up Lana and Rusev again and have Lana wrestle. Which, why they did that, I wouldn't know. Like, you would think, by the way, if you do something once, you wouldn't do it again. Because they split up Lana and Rusev before, and it failed miserably. They did it again, and what happened? It failed miserably. I think it failed worse the second time, because Lana had to actually wrestle the second time. And go watch a Money in the Bank match with Naomi. Not pretty. Charlotte Flair, and, basically, too, they reminded us that, this all started because of that SmackDown Women's title match with Charlotte Flair and Naomi, where Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina came in. Remember that stable, the Welcoming Committee? Remember that?
Oh, my God, that was awful.
Yeah. And, then it led to that 6-woman tag match with, like, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Naomi versus the Welcoming Committee. And the Welcoming Committee won, and then, everything... Because that's basically, I guess, and then like the Welcoming Committee just disbanded anyways. Like, what the hell?
Oh my God, they were awful. The Welcoming Committee, they were awful.
Yeah, this match was awful. I don't know. This may sound sexist, but I don't know what it is about main roster. But anytime they do like a multi-person woman match, it always sucks.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, and it's not being because like NXT can do the multi-person woman match properly, and it actually ends up being pretty damn awesome. See the 4 Horsewomen 4-way match at NXT TakeOver Rival. That's awesome. Yeah. But for some reason, the main roster can't do the multi-person women's match correctly. It always sucks. Because, they always try to have them, like, brawl, and the brawls always look awful. And you had that, beginnings Then you have Lana and Tamina Snuka like working together against Charlotte Flair for like what seemed like forever. It probably was like 5 minutes, but it felt like 10. Because Tamina and Lana suck, so you know. And then you had like a spot in the match where like Lana just like kicked Charlotte in the back, like barely kicked her, and Charlotte Flair like oversold it. I think you that's definitely something you would have called out in the chat. I have a feeling you probably did. So because I think that's when we started doing the chat. So
yeah.
if you didn't call it out in the chat, I'll be very because you're typically very good at calling out that type of stuff. So you definitely probably called that out when that happened. And then Becky Lynch comes in, and I did like the spot where Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch did like the double exploder suplexes to both of them. That was pretty awesome. And then the match, was a 3-way match for a bit with Natty in there, and the match was like being saved, but then Lana and Tamina came in and ruined it. So there you go. And I want to remind everybody of this. So Becky Lynch has Tamina Snuka in the Disarm Her. And Chris, what type of match is this?
It's a fucking battle royal.
Well, it's an elimination match.
Yeah, elimination match. Bit of fire. Elimination.
What does Lana do? She breaks up the submission.
Break it up, baby. Yeah.
Now, obviously, they tried to explain this by saying, well, Lana and Tamina are in cahoots with each other, so they don't want to have take away a chance from them losing. No, fuck off. Lana's taking away more of a chance for her winning because if you don't eliminate Tamina, because you're gonna have to eventually fight Tamina anyways. So, fuck off. It gets worse. Then, Charlotte Flair puts Tamina in the figure 8. And what is Tamina? What is Lana? No, actually, she puts Lana in the figure 8. What does Tamina do? Breaks up the submission. And then, Charlotte Flair puts the figure 8 on Natalya, not the person she's in cahoots with. And what does Lana do? Break up the submission.
Because she's got it.
But then eventually Becky Lynch eliminates Lana with Disarm Her. And then she does the same thing with Tamina. I think it was actually Tamina first, then Lana. So I got my order one. And then Natalya rolled up Becky Lynch out of nowhere and got the pinfall that way. I hate elimination matches where the eliminations just happen one after the other. Really pisses me off.
You gotta spread them out.
Yeah. And then it was down to Natty and Charlotte Flair. I mean, they tried to save it, but it was too bad to save. Charlotte Flair went for the moonsault, and then Natty German suplexes him to the bottom turnbuckle when the match just ends out of nowhere. Like, think about it. That's how the match ended. It wasn't exposed either. It was just a German suplex into the turnbuckle. Wasn't a finisher. Wasn't a signature. It was that. Because what the fuck was that about? And then afterwards, this was when Natalya too was like that heel that like thought everyone was like against her or something. I forget exactly what it was. Remember, this was like that weird heel Natalya, which like randomly turned on Becky Lynch like. Yeah. And then Naomi tries to shake Natty's hand, and apparently Naomi's never watched wrestling before. You don't go to shake heel's hand because you're not gonna shake your hand. So Natty just leaves, and Naomi's like surprised about it, even though she's a heel. So. Like, what did you expect Natalya to do? Just to shake your hand, even though like she's been like talking about how she just wants respect in the women's division? What did you expect? And on Talking Smack, Natalya like talked about how she was the best afterwards. Because remember Talking Smack, this was like canceled around this time, but they only brought it back for pay-per-views. Yeah, I guess I can't really say the one person won this match, but I don't know. I personally would have had Becky Lynch win the match. That's just me personally. I think it would have been, because in hindsight, probably Charlotte Flair kind of could have won the match because then Ric Flair went into the hospital like right after this, pretty much. So she was off TV for a while. So they would have had to like do a replacement anyways. But yeah, why? I just kind of asked you, why was this on pay-per-view? This is a match you do on SmackDown. Like this felt like a complete SmackDown match. But yet they did it on pay-per-view. Whatever. Because, we needed that Natty Naomi SummerSlam match on this show. It would have saved this show somewhat.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, what were your thoughts on this fatal 5-way elimination match extravaganza?
Yay.
Um,
Terrible.
yeah, I said my star rating to 1.5 stars. I don't think you give a star rating for the Nakamura Baron Corbin match. So why don't you do that first and then
0.
okay, 0. Doesn't even get. What about this match? Fatal
1.
5-way. Huh?
1.
1. There you
It's
go.
fucking awful. It's not even worth my time.
Then we had. Now I want to tell you guys the participants in this match. United States Championship match. United States Champion AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. They've hyped this match that was probably going to be match of the night. You would have thought, by the way, it would have been match of the night. It had every business being match of the night.
Yep.
But it was
fell very short of that.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. They would definitely hold back because they would like doing it was Chinlock City. By the way, this was the first, by the way, too, of AJ Styles' balls being in trouble in WWE. Because what was one of the moves in this match? It was Kevin Owens picking up AJ Styles and sending him balls first in the post. So, yeah, I bet AJ Styles doesn't plan on having any kids anytime soon because he's getting hit in the balls a lot in WWE. Unless he's wearing a cup, and that's fine. And then they exchange submission holds on each other. Kevin Owens goes for a power bomb, but inadvertently takes out the referee. And you typically, when you do a referee bump, it leads to something. Really didn't lead to anything. It just, just took a bump for no reason.
Yeah.
And then, I believe AJ had like Kevin Owens in a crossface.
He did.
And Kevin Owens rolls him up, and I believe AJ Styles' shoulder was up, but the ref didn't see it. And Kevin Owens won the match and became the brand new U.S. champion. Forgot to break down the story of this match, but I'm just so mad right now because AJ had just won the title at Madison Square Garden, so you would have thought that he would have retained the title. Nope. They'd also had matches, at Backlash for the title, and
switched right back.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the one question. Was this a bot? No one ever really knows if this was supposed to happen or not because right after this, like, Kevin Owens looks shocked. AJ Styles looks shocked. The referee looked like... I feel like something went wrong here. Something definitely got fucked up because with the way everybody reacted, the commentators didn't even know what was going on. I feel like there was definitely some type of fuck up in this match because, yeah. The match was a 2-star match. It was really filler. And that's a problem. Like, if you have Kevin Owens and AJ Styles in a match with each other, it's typically, and it's filler, then you're not... The show should have just ended right here, by the way. Like, that should have been a...
Yeah.
Because the show didn't get it... The show got worse from here.
It got worse.
This is probably AJ Styles' like worst WWE match he's had since he's come into the company, too. It's probably not his worst match. He's probably had, like, some type of worst match, like, outside the company. I just don't know about it. But still... this is, I think we call a worst match was when he had to have had like a worst match like doing the Claire Lynch storyline. He had to have.
I don't think he did. I think this is the worst.
Yeah, not in his career though, because he's had to have had a worse one than this. But yeah. What were your thoughts on this match and your star rating?
Like you said, like on paper. This should have been a fucking 4-star to 5-star match.
Yeah.
It should have been. But we were left extremely disappointed. Very boring match. That's something that we actually never say about these two.
No.
Incredibly boring match. Just really, really bad.
Yeah.
Just a really bad series of matches too that they've had. 1 star.
I gotta say too, like, you would have thought, like, this was like lighted on the wall. Like, you would have thought, by the way, with AJ and Kevin Owens, like, their feud was just so underwhelming, and the match was just so underwhelming around this time. Because they won anything like, I think the best match they've had was that SummerSlam match, but that has like that Shane McMahon chicanery in there still.
Yeah.
So it's like they like if WWE had just let them, they could have put on like a 20 to 30-minute classic, like 4-star match if they had let them, and they could have really raised the prestige of this United States Championship. Because this was like, the U.S. title, like, started degraded right after Cena lost it, back in 2015. Then the U.S. title, like, went right back to, like the U.S. title honestly should just be deactivated at this point because they've just really buried this championship. People win and lose it all the time, so it's like, eh. And that's why kind of I think I'm not a fan of the 24/7 title because you could have joke championships if you treat all of your other titles prestigious, but all the titles now are just treated such jokes that this is just another one that's just tacked right onto it. Like
it is, yeah.
That was the difference between, like, that's why I was okay with the hardcore title because at least in the Attitude Era, every title was treated prestigiously.
Not this one.
Nowadays, I think it's just the Universal, WWE. And I think, because I'm not counting like the cruiserweight because that's not really with the main roster. So, I think that's it. I think the I'll give it probably the SmackDown Tag Team just because of the two people holding it right now. I think they're gonna really make those titles prestigious. But I forgot to say where everybody is in the Fatal 5-Way. We should say like what a difference Becky Lynch's character is now than it was like a little under 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, way
so
different.
There you go. Tamina Snuka, I think has been injured several times, so she hasn't really done anything. And then Natalya, went on to win the SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam that year. And then had the classics with Charlotte, except the Clash of Champions match. Don't watch that match. And randomly turned back into a babyface out of nowhere, pretty much. Lana, by the way, we should talk about Lana because so the wrestling stint wasn't working. So you would think that you would just put it back with Rusev as a manager. They did one of those things right. They put it back as a manager, but they put it back with Tamina, not Rusev. Tamina. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. And then they just said, again, they just had to put them back together anyways because Tamina got hurt, and they should just
stop. That was part of the welcoming committee too, right?
I think so, yeah. And then Charlotte Flair, pretty much is she's a Grand Slam champion. They're not gonna say that because the women's tag team titles are thin, but that's bullshit. She's a Grand Slam champion. I know technically she hasn't won the women's tag team titles, but that's fucking bullshit because she was before they decided to stupidly bring in those titles. So she's a Grand Slam champion. Fight me on that one. Because you can't just
fight them.
You can't do that. You can't just put in a new title and then say she's not because she was before they brought in these women's tag team titles. So she's a Grand Slam champion. So, yeah. And then Naomi basically is just enhancement talent at this point. She went from being a women's champion to be she just does nothing on television and is just nothing. So, and then, AJ Styles went on to have the awesome WWE title run later on in the year and hold it till right before Survivor Series. And then Kevin Owens pretty much had the awesome feud with Shane and then lost at Mania. And now he's just losing all over the place. And, yeah, they're really booking Kevin Owens like crap right now. So,
yep. Remember that? Remember he came back as a babyface?
I didn't have the problem with the turn because obviously we thought there wasn't going to be.
I didn't either. I mean, if you think of it, they turned him heel because they didn't have any heels.
Yeah.
And then guess who just came back the next week after that? Fucking Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So they basically turned him heel for no fucking reason.
And then they had the wild card rule, and so they could have just had a heel on Raw come over and just feud with Kofi for the title anyways. So it's they
could have brought back Ziggler like they did.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that either, by the way.
They could have done that and kept Kevin Owens as a babyface.
Yeah, if they wanted to turn him heel eventually, fine, but not not right after you.
It was 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
4 weeks later.
Yeah.
He was a babyface on television, minus the goofy, everyday dad skits. He was a babyface on television for approximately less than a month.
Yeah. So, Yeah, more stupidity on this, and then Kevin Owens. If you want to see something though, Kevin Owens is probably the star of this show because he had a great promo, you know, on the pre-show, and then he does a great Talking Smack skit. And if you've ever seen Kevin Owens on Talking Smack with Renee Young and Jerry the King Lawler, it's pretty damn awesome because he's just consistently arguing with Renee Young and always telling her that she's wrong. It's just
Yeah.
awesome. You have to see it. It's just it's Kevin Owens like kind of like you would expect him to like act like in real life, but just obviously with his character still. So I think it's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
Then Jinder Mahal's backstage. The Sin brothers come in, and because he's having a Punjabi prison match, they can't be ringside, so they apologize for that and hope that he wins the title and retains it himself. But Jinder Mahal says, "Don't worry, I got a plan," because he had a plan already.
Oh, we'll get to it. It gets worse, actually.
Yeah. I think he planned. I wonder if he was planning on. We'll set this up. I wonder if he was planning on Randy Orton's stupidity. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
Do you want to break down this flag match? Because I've been kind of talking throughout the whole. I'll let you break down the flag match with Rusev and John.
I'm also kind of super distracted too. If you notice, I haven't been responding because I'm watching the NHL draft at the same time, so I'm kind of distracted a little bit. But,
Rusev, John Cena flag match. Break down the story, the match, and the aftermath of it.
Well, this dates back to, I think it was WrestleMania 33, right?
31.
31, yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, makes sense. Because that's right, yeah, because it was in California. There, for the U.S. Championship, which Cena won, which he didn't. I don't think he needed to win, but he won anyway, and he broke Rusev's undefeated streak. Yay!
And also,
Yay!
Rusev was probably the latest. I think he's probably the last victim of John Cena's reign of terror.
Yeah, roughly, yeah, because he was dialing back like after this the schedule. But
which I think was what sucks about Cena now too. Cena is now putting guys over when it really doesn't matter now. Like where was this
he put over Roman.
Yeah.
Like where was this like fucking 15 years ago?
Yeah, we could have used this because like he's putting guys over now that he's not there all the time. So it's like when Chris Jericho put people over, he did it when he was still but he was still a full timer at least.
Yeah, he always put people over.
Yeah.
Even he put Punk over in that Best in the World feud.
Yeah. He put over Fandango and he didn't have any business putting him over.
He didn't want to either.
I didn't know about that actually.
It's on Talk is Jericho. That's the one with might have been the one with Ambrose.
That's interesting then.
He didn't want to put him over.
I'll have to watch that. So I still gotta watch.
One with Ambrose or was a one before? It's one of this last couple that he did.
Yeah. But yeah, can I continue to talk about the feud?
Well, it's not really much of a feud if you want to call it that, because John just buries him the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And they had a couple of matches before this flag match, and John just absolutely just fucking buried them.
Yeah.
But that leads up to this flag match.
Well, also too, John Cena too had like just returned too from doing some type of. He was doing something like some type of movie or something, and this was the start into
2017. So
yeah.
Was it a WWE production?
Yeah, and this was the start too.
Before his Hollywood career took over.
And then this was the start too of like him being a free agent too. By the way.
Oh yeah, they at the beginning of 2018, he basically became a free agent.
Which basically just shows up on Raw because Did you ever notice that like when he was a free agent, he just mainly showed up on Raw like
What's the point of being a free agent?
Yeah.
Filmography. Here we go. 2017 was The Wall, Daddy's Home 2, and Ferdinand.
He might have been doing like probably Daddy's.
It was Ferdinand. That's what I remember. Okay. A little bit at least. He was doing Ferdinand. But
you telling me about? Wait, isn't Ferdinand like a cartoon though?
Yeah.
Like we just do. So you're telling me he couldn't fit in WWE in between doing Ferdinand? Like, come on, like
he could have, but he didn't.
yeah, because like it's not like you're like physically going out there and I mean, I bet doing voiceover is harder than you think, but come on, like.
But this match sucked.
Yeah,
Absolutely sucked. Not a really notable match.
It's not really. It's not like a traditional flag match either. It's like
you have to get it. You have to get the flag off the pole, and then go climb up the steps of your nationality, and then put the flag in the flagpole.
Mm-hmm.
Really, 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 really weird match.
Yeah.
But Cena ends up winning because right as soon as Rusev's about to win, Cena blocks the flag from going into the hole, into the holster. They fight to the top of the entrance ramp off the stairs, and Cena basically picks up Rusev. After didn't Rusev try to go for an accolade?
Oh yeah.
And then Cena obviously counted that. He picks him up in the attitude adjustment. JBL fucking blows him for his strength.
Which is that's unrealistic, by the way. There's no way like you. I don't know.
It's not like fucking Rusev is like fucking 600 pounds.
Yeah, but like still like
he's like
the weight
250.
But it's so unrealistic. Like you counter the accolade and like do it and counter it like into an AA. Like come on, like
and then he AAs him off of the off of tables that were just magically there. Didn't they?
Well, they set him up.
Yeah, but like just happened to be there on the other side.
Yeah.
Hits the AA through the tables and then grabs the American flag, showing no ill effects of what just happened, and puts the flag in the holster, and American boy John Cena wins.
Because
for America.
You always notice too, America's always the baby faces when they do these flag matches for some reason.
Not the evil heel.
Yeah.
Can't have that. Can't the evil Bulgarian win.
Yeah.
And be put over.
No, not that they always win. They're always the baby faces though. Like, come on, like, and then I love too how it's like Bulgaria being represented when like no one really talks about Bulgaria.
So no one. They forgot he was Bulgarian.
Yeah.
They said he was Russian, even though he had a tattoo. He has a tattoo on his shoulder of the Bulgarian flag.
Yeah. I want to point out like one critical part of this match that made Rusev look really stupid, and I think you know where I'm going with this. So there's a spot where John Cena's about to put the flag into the holster, or whatever it's called, the stand, and Rusev grabs the holster and hits Cena with it. And he just, what does he do? Instead of throwing it into the crowd, throwing it anywhere else, he just puts it right back on the stand. That's stupid.
I remember that. Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah.
That was awful.
And it's just typical John Cena booking 101. So that was I honestly you think this did no favors for Rusev again, by the way. He was supposed to get
like time Rusev got put over, to be honest.
I think he has I think recently there was a thing that Rusev has the most consecutive losses on pay-per-views ever. Just the last time he's won on pay-per-view was Battleground 2016 against Zack Ryder.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he hasn't won a match on pay-per-view in 2 years.
2019.
Yeah, because let's list his losses. He fought Roman to a no contest at SummerSlam. He lost to Roman at Clash of Champions. Then he lost to him again at Hell in a Cell. No, actually, I'm wrong. He didn't. He beat Big Cass by countout at Roadblock End of the Line.
That was 20.
That was the end of 2016.
16.
And then he lost at the Rumble match. Then he lost a Big Show at Fastlane and that weird gauntlet match he did with Jinder Mahal. Remember that?
Yeah.
Then he lost at. I don't think he competed at WrestleMania because he was injured. And then he didn't compete at Backlash. And then he had this was his first match back. He lost to Randy Orton at SummerSlam in 10 seconds. Remember that?
Awful. Oh my god, I remember that.
He lost
You guys
to
were over my house, weren't you?
yeah.
That match. That was terrible.
That was our first live reactions. And then he lost to Randy Orton in Hell in a Cell. He didn't have a match at Survivor Series. He lost at Clash of Champions in the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team title, SmackDown Tag Team title match. He lost. He didn't win the Royal. He didn't win the Men's Royal Rumble. I almost said women's, but you know. There you go. Then he lost to Shinsuke Nakamura at Fastlane. And then he lost the U.S. title match at WrestleMania, and he ate the fall.
Yep.
Trying to think, what was the next Backlash? He didn't have a match, I don't think. Because I remember this is where Super no, I forgot, not Super Showdown, but the Greatest Royal Rumble, he lost to the Undertaker in the casket match.
And that's gosh.
All right, and then we had Backlash, and then we had Money in the Bank. He didn't win the Money in the Bank ladder match, the men's one. Then Extreme Rules, he lost the WWE title match to AJ Styles. SummerSlam, he lost the kickoff match. Think about it. He goes from having a WWE title match with AJ Styles to losing a mixed tag team match with Lana to Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. Great career directory right there.
Fantastic.
Then he lost a Hell in a Cell kickoff match to he teamed up with Aiden English to face the New Day. I forget which two members. I think it was Kofi and Big E. Then that was at Hell in a Cell. Then I don't think he had a match at Survivor Series. He didn't have a match at TLC. He lost the U.S. title to Shinsuke Nakamura at Royal Rumble this year. Yeah. And then at Fastlane, because I don't think he had a match at Elimination Chamber, he lost the kickoff tag match where he teamed up with Nakamura to lose to Xavier Woods and Big E. And then he lost the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team title match at WrestleMania this year.
Yep.
And then I don't think he wrestled at Money in the Bank.
I don't think he did.
I have no idea if he wrestled at Super Showdown, but
I don't think so.
I don't think he won because they didn't talk about it. They would have said he won. And then as of right now, he is not booked for a match at Stomping Grounds. So, yeah, Rusev has I don't know how many that is, but that has to be like within like 12 or like 14 losses consecutively on pay-per-view. Yeah, Rusev, yeah, that's not good.
They have a match there, and let's see. I hope these are in order, and they are. Was he in the? Yes, so he was in that 50-man battle royal.
He didn't win, did he?
And of course he didn't.
Yeah. So there you go. Rusev, so I just basically said where Rusev went after this. Why don't you say what John Cena is after this?
After this he went to go film more movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically like hasn't wrestled a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. He's only wrestled 2 matches this year.
Yeah. I honestly couldn't even tell you which ones they were.
They're all multi-man, I can tell you that.
And now he's just an actor.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really say, because like when he shows up on, WWE programming, I just remember it's just business as usual with Cena. So it's like, I really don't miss seeing Cena anyways. Like a lot of people say that, but I honestly don't really miss seeing Cena because his segments are the same. He'll do especially now, like he'll do some type of shoot promo that like people will think is like a great, like that. I told you about this before. You were never good on the mic if you have to keep resorting to shoot promos. So, there you go. So, yeah, this match is really bad. Style and a half. I think the half goes to the table spot. So, there you go.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I don't even style and a half. Just really bad.
Did no favors to Rusev. And
definitely did.
Yeah. And you would have thought Cena was going to be... Which, thank God this didn't happen. We had thought at this time he was set to fight for the WWE title at SummerSlam, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Then we had, I don't know if you remember this, it's the Fashion X Files. This is the Fashion Police segments they did with Breezango, which were really funny, and the WWE just stupidly went away from them because they don't want us to have fun. And basically the story was someone had destroyed the with Breezango's uh, office. So they were
Yeah.
trying to find out who it was. And the Ascension come up and they just say it was us, and it was very underwhelming, which was the point of the segment because the Breezango even say, well, I guess it's all like season finales. We all think they're gonna be good, but they'll just end up being letdowns, which was funny that he said that. But then Breezango point out that it wasn't them because they went to like some type of concert like on SmackDown the same day that the office or something got destroyed. So they were like, it clearly wasn't you guys. So the Ascension, we feel it wasn't them. And then the lights go out and we hear some type of commotion go down. We hear someone get attacked, which we find out is Tyler Breeze. And Fandango turns the flashlight on. We see he's all laid out. And we see all the offices are destroyed, which is one thing I loved about the offices because they would always have like segments, like they had, they would have like funny like little Easter eggs that you would have to point out. Like I believe they, they had like who is the Raw anonymous GM? Because
there's those funny little things.
Yeah, like another example is who threw the pie in Kevin Owens' face, like
They
back on
figured it out yet.
Yeah. No, actually, there's a network special about that. You have to watch it. You don't have to watch it, but you should watch it. And then Fandango gets laid out by somebody, and he just gets dragged. Fandango got kidnapped and dragged away. And then it says to be continued. And what I always loved about these was they would always have like the Law and Order theme song with like their voiceover along with it. Like,
really, really, really funny.
But guess what? We never found out who destroyed their office because they just went away from it. We never found out who it was.
Never found out.
Yeah. And Breezango pretty much just went back to being enhancement talent right after this. They would do these segments and then just lose all the matches. So yeah, great. Breezango should have won. I think Breezango should have won the tag team titles at some point. That's a crying shame that they didn't. Fandango ended up getting injured, so it's not like it put a stall on their momentum. They were on main event every week anyways. Chris's favorite show, main event.
Definitely my favorite.
Yeah. And but now, Fandango got hurt and Tyler Breeze is down in NXT, and I don't think if Fandango comes back, I don't think they're gonna reform the tag team, so there you go. But this was awesome. What were your thoughts on the Fashion X Files?
Great.
Oh, and the Ascension are basically doing the same thing they were doing before, just jobbing him. Yeah.
Literally nothing.
And then I'll let you talk. Actually, I'll talk about this match because you get to talk about the main event. Mike Kanellis with Maria Kanellis versus Sami Zayn. This feud is really bad. Sami Zayn just kept interrupting them every week, and Sami Zayn was questioning whether Mike Kanellis was really here to wrestle or just to make love. I guess we found out the answer was to make love because they had a kid right afterwards. So, so Mike Kanellis got upset and he hit Sami Zayn with a vase. And what really sucks about this feud was they couldn't just wait to do this match. They did the match on SmackDown right on the go-home edition of all places. And Mike Kanellis just beat Sami Zayn and... they just had to have a rematch, I guess. So, and like you said, you could definitely see, if you watch this match back, you could definitely see this is Mike Kanellis still in his drug addiction because he, with the way, if you watch it, like a match he has now on 205 Live, it's completely different. Like, he is just a completely different
he's fucking shredded.
Yeah.
He looks like he's the best shape of his fucking life.
Yeah, but you could just tell though if you go back and rewatch this match, like you could just tell like you knew something was off with Mike Kanellis because he was pretty much out of shape, and he basically just didn't like the Mike Kanellis I saw here was the different Mike Kanellis I saw. I know you don't like this promotion, but at Top Rope, like he was a completely different performer.
What did you just say?
Yeah, you heard me. Top rope. No, but like, I mean, I know you didn't see it, but I would imagine you can get what I'm saying. Like, he was a completely different performer in this stage of his career than he was like in any of his like ROH or Impact matches. And Sami Zayn went on to win, which was stupid, kind of, because Mike Kanellis had just come into the company. He shouldn't have lost. Um, but it's not. I mean, did it really matter? Did the victory really matter though? At this point, Mike Kanellis had a crap gimmick. He was going to be off. He was in a bad stage of his life, basically.
Yeah.
Because Maria Kanellis got pregnant right after this match, pretty much, right?
Yeah, then he came. Yeah, pretty much, and then he came clean.
And then Sami Zayn. I mean, this victory did no favors for anybody either, because Sami Zayn basically was still jobbing out left and right. Like, he really didn't do anything until he turned heel like at Hell in a Cell later on that year. So yeah, this match is this match is a match you would see on a dark match right after SmackDown, not a pay-per-view too.
Yeah,
Like, what
exactly.
are you doing? Like, Sami Zayn wins with the haluva kick, but it's not much of a victory. Like, nobody won this match and nobody lost this match. It was just
it was an indifferent.
Yeah. And obviously we kind of really said what happened with the Canellises, so we don't really need to say that. You want to say where Sami Zayn is today?
Being a fucking heel.
Yeah.
And he's fucking hilarious.
Unfortunately, though, I think they're kind of dropping the ball with him, because he's losing every week. So
yeah, I mean, he just acted like a goof. Like he came back recently and he was like rilling the crowd up in Montreal.
I feel like they've gotten away from that gimmick. They've gotten away from that critics gimmick. It seems like, by the way,
they've gone away from the critics gimmick, and he's kind of went back into where he was like before he was injured.
Which kind of sucks, because I thought that
no one's doing the goofy entrances and everything.
Which kind of sucks. I liked that. I loved that. Critics.
I did too. It was great. It was awesome. But this this one's also very good too.
Yeah. And then
just recently too, he came out. He was like doing like the air guitar and everything.
Yeah.
The entrance is hilarious.
And then what really sucks though is now we have the Sammy Tally, which if you don't know what that is, go watch What Culture's Ups and Downs, because I'll explain it for you. So it's every time he takes a fall in a tag team match, there's gonna be the Sammy Tally. Because you ever notice it's always Sami Zayn that every time.
It's always Sammy. Yeah. For some reason, it's always Sammy.
Yeah.
It's never. If you realize it's never Kevin, it's always Sammy.
Yep. But guess what? You get to talk about the best match of the whole show. And you want me? Do I even need to say what? And you get to talk about the build up for it, the match, and everything. You want to talk? Do you know?
I know a little bit about the build up, so I'm not gonna talk too much about it. But
I'll talk.
I know a little bit of it, but like Jinder Mahal, basically, I'm just gonna sum it up, wrap it up, before we get to this long-winded explanation of why this match is the fucking worst match in the history of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal, didn't he won something? He won a battle royal, right?
Well, let's actually put this in perspective. I want to make sure everyone knows this before this, though. We went to SmackDown a week before, and Jinder Mahal jobbed out to Mojo Rawley, and you chanted "Test Jinder." I think Vince McMahon
tested him all right. Tested him right to the top.
Yeah. So right after that, Jinder Mahal won a 6-pack. By the way, 1 week after he lost to Mojo Rawley, when he was basically enhancement talent, he won a 6-pack number one contenders match to become number one contender to the WWE title at Backlash. Yeah. Okay. Can you imagine that, by the way? Like some football player that all of a sudden sucked a whole season, just won the Super Bowl out of nowhere. Some football team never won any games and they just went on and won the Super Bowl.
That'd fucking be unreal.
Yeah.
Be unreal.
I mean, maybe you'd love it, but maybe you'd love it but here it was just really bad.
Fucking stupid. But so Jinder Mahal, the perennial loser, Jobby McJobbingston, never really had a serious gimmick. He was a part of 3MB. He actually got fucking released at one point. In between stints, right in the middle, after 3MB ended, he didn't last very much longer. Then he was released.
Yeah,
they brought him back to team up with he was with Heath Slater for a little bit, in the beginning of his comeback, and then he got a contract for some reason, and then
started doing the breathing exercises.
Yeah, he started doing the shanty, which he kind of does off and on now, but. So basically, he won that six-pack challenge or whatever the fuck it was. It was a match, and he won a number one contendership. And he beat Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Jinder Mahal, the perennial jobber, whose win-loss record was putrid to this point, beats Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Supposedly the most prestigious championship in all of wrestling at this point in time. And Jinder McJobber wins it. Unreal. So now he goes on his reign of terror. Everyone wants to see him lose, but Vince got a hard-on for him in the country of India, which he didn't care about beforehand. Nope. I might point this out. He didn't give a fuck about the country beforehand.
Nope.
Now, all of a sudden, he decides that he actually cares about India. So he puts the championship on Jinder freaking Mahal. Terrible decision in hindsight. Terrible. So that's basically the build up to this crappy match. And now, here comes the fun part.
Actually, I want to talk about one more thing, too. Randy Orton, after Jinder Mahal disrespected his family, wanted a match with Jinder Mahal, and for some reason, Shane McMahon let Jinder Mahal pick the stipulation for no reason at all. Well, Shane McMahon, by the way, was a face at this point, and he's letting the heel
pick the stipulation.
Yeah. And what does Jinder Mahal pick? I want to tell you, Jinder Mahal never could beat Randy Orton straight up. What does he pick? A cage match where no one could get involved. And they tried to make it seem like that this was Jinder Mahal's match when there's only been 2 in existence, and Jinder Mahal was nowhere in any of those matches. So how is he have the experience if he's never been in the match?
And they are rated, all 3 of these matches. They've had 3 of them in the time period from, it was 2006, right? Was the first one?
Yeah.
They did 06 and 07. Or was it just 06?
07 too.
They did those 2 matches, and they were shit.
Yeah.
So what do? They bring it back in 2017.
And they try to make it seem like it's such
10 years later almost.
And they try to make it seem like that it was it's such a brutal match. That's why they don't do it though so that often. Remember they tried to this match is so brutal that you know there's a reason it's been such a long time since we've seen it.
It had been 10 years since they had the last match, and they decided to bring it fucking back. Lo and behold, first of all, the people in attendance couldn't fucking see what was going on to begin with.
No.
So if you were in the crowd that night, good luck because you couldn't see.
No.
Couldn't see inside the ring at all. You can barely see inside the ring. So, I mean, I didn't rewatch this match because I didn't want to torture myself. So I'm just gonna go over the spots that I remember personally, that I've told countless times, but I will say it again because it's really fucking funny.
And you're the perfect person because you're the one that
I hate this match so much. I hate this pay-per-view and I hate this fucking stupid match and the stupid match type. For the record, if you go back and watch the rundown, I was actually excited for this match. If you go back into 2017, I actually was pulling for this match. I actually was really excited for it. But anyway, Randy Orton in this match, I will say right off the bat, is a stupid, dumb babyface.
Yep.
He plays the idiotic babyface. He goes for his patented RKO.
I should mention before this, the rules of this match is you have to escape both structures, and you could call for a door to be open, but it'll only be open for 60 seconds, not 60 minutes. 60 seconds.
Minutes, my God.
Yeah.
If that was the fucking case, he would have hit the RKO and gone out of it.
Yeah, 60. You have to escape both structures, and if you don't get out of the door in 60 seconds, you have to climb over.
Yeah, so they basically they opened up all the doors on all sides except for one.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get to it. They couldn't get to the other 3 doors in time, and they closed, and they're permanently closed. But so Randy goes to the door. He thinks he's going to be all cocky, hit the RKO, and basically win the goddamn match.
Yep.
Because that's the RKO, the most devastating move in all of wrestling. Is what they're calling it. Can happen out of nowhere. It's It's devastating. At that point, he just win the goddamn match. So he goes for the RKO. Jinder, first of all, he calls for the gate. He called for the door to be open. And he goes and he gonna hit the RKO. Instead of leaving, pounding the mat, tell him to get up, pounding it. By the time Jinder gets up, he only has about 10 seconds left, I think it was at that time. Jinder counters it, and what happened? The heel got out. The heel got out.
Yeah, because what happens is Randy Orton ends up hitting the RKO, countering the Colossus, and the Sins pull Jinder Mahal out of the win. Because, I don't think this was Jinder Mahal's plan to have the symbol. Like, it was his plan, but I don't think he planned on how stupid Randy Orton was going to be in this match.
So, now, it just gets dumber from this. Randy has to now climb over the top of the cave, over the top of the middle Punjabi prison. Because he can't get out because stupid dumb babyface Randy Orton couldn't just leave and win the match. He had to hit his finisher, which he kind of did, but at the same time, stupid idiot. He climbs out the top, and he's at the top of the second structure. Now, any normal human being would think, do I want to be in this structure with 3 other people? Or should I use common sense and just, take 3 more climbs and I'm out, basically. What does he do? He sees Jinder getting up as he's at the top. He's hanging onto the top of the structure here. He climbs down. What a moron. He climbs down and decides to fight Jinder Mahal instead of climbing out of said structure. Now, he could have won easily because Jinder was just getting back up. But instead, he climbs down and he decides that he wants to fight them. Moron. Yep. Dumb babyface. He beats the shit out of the Singh brothers as expected because they're nothing more than just flippy floppy guys who you touch them and they fucking fly 50 feet up in the air like they're fucking bouncy balls. Then he goes and he starts beating up on they start fight. He starts fighting with Jinder, and so he goes to climb up the second structure. He gets halfway up, and all of a sudden, Jinder Mahal's music hits again, and now Randy is hanging on. He hooked his arm on the outside of the cage, and he's hanging there. Because I think, again, he had just fought off them again. So all 3 of them are on the floor. They're nowhere near him. And he's hanging there. And who comes out? The great fucking Khali. Mr. No Knees, 7'3", 400-pound great Khali who could barely even walk. And what does stupid dumb babyface Randy Orton do? He waits for the great Khali to get to the ring. Or to the structure. He waits. Instead of climbing out and saying, oh my god, there's a big fucking giant man coming after me. What do I do? You leave the fucking cage and run.
Yeah.
And instead, the stupid dumb babyface waits for him to get there. So now Khali climbs up the cage as Randy's trying to climb up, and he hits him and he falls down. Unreal. And guess who wins the match? Jinder Mahal. Not stupid dumb babyface Randy Orton. Jinder Mahal. The dumbest babyface I've ever seen in my life. He refused to win the match on 3 separate occasions. Refused to win the match on 3 separate occasions.
I want to point out.
Along my voice.
I want to point out too that Great Khali too. What you forgot to say was by the time Khali would have gotten there, Randy Orton probably would have been up on the entrance ramp, was celebrated with the title. Khali's that slow, like.
By the time he had got to the Punjabi prison, the outside structure, Randy would have been out of the arena in his car and driven to the airport by the time that Kali got to the ring.
Yeah, so
And then got on a flight and flown back home to fucking Missouri.
yeah.
And then Kali would have gotten there.
I also want to point out a great spot that everyone talks about from the Punjabi prison history because it's one of the only ones. Batista jumping from one side of the ring to the other. Everyone talks about that spot. Randy Orton buried it by just stepping right over to the other structure. Like this is like
he literally climbed up and like stepped over, and he was at the top.
Yeah, so he's just like it's like so he was just like so Randy was probably thinking, yeah, Batista, you jumped. I'm just gonna step right over here.
Yeah,
Billy, you're an awesome spot. Then obviously to the Sin brother like falling off the outside structure through the announce table. That's awesome. Can't.
Yeah.
This match sucks. You know, it was very. I mean, obviously too. Like everyone knew this match was gonna suck. Like it was. I feel like it sucked worse than it was. Like
it's way worse than it was. You would think Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal. You think at least it would have been a competent match. It would have been a decent to good match. But if it was just a singles match with no stipulation, no Punjabi prison, if they just had like a regular match, I think it would have been fairly decent because Randy Orton can carry a good match.
Yeah.
But they added the stupid stipulation and it made the match 6,000 times worse than it could have been.
And let's also point this in perspective too.
And it's the best Punjabi prison match in history. Out of the three of them, it's the best one.
Probably is. I also want to point this out. Randy Orton, this was the miss of like this is probably the worst year of his career. He won the Rumble, where he shouldn't have won. His best match is against Luke Harper at Fastlane.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that match it's like probably like a 4-star match.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Really. If I'd recommend to watch a match in 2017, it's that one.
Yeah.
It's very underrated.
But there's more. But then it just gets worse. He has a crappy feud with Bray Wyatt for the WWE title. By the way, I just want to point out that feud's so crappy. They have to they have to revamp Bray Wyatt's character. I'm just gonna point that out there.
The crappy magician, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. Then he has the crappy House of Horrors match. Then he has a crappy feud with Jinder Mahal, loses the title to him at Backlash. You already said all that. Then he loses the rematch at Money in the Bank. Then he has this crappy match here. Then he has a crappy feud with Rusev. 10-second match at SummerSlam. Mediocre match at Hell in a Cell. Then he floundered and just did nothing from like the rest of the year. Randy Orton's year is probably the worst year of Randy Orton. In our year-end awards of this year, we voted for like worst superstar of the year. Randy Orton was one of the categories, and the only reason he didn't win is because the other two were worse. It was Enzo Amore and Jinder Mahal. Had Enzo Amore and Jinder Mahal not been there, Randy Orton easily would have won. I think the other one was Bray Wyatt. Maybe Bray Wyatt would have won. But like I'm saying, Randy Orton was on the same category with Enzo Amore, Jinder Mahal, and Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, mind you, the same guy that was being booked so crappy, he was dressed in drag as Sister Abigail.
Yep. And then they revamped this character.
Yeah. That's how shitty like Randy Orton of a year Randy Orton was having. Randy Orton's year, however, got better. Well, not year, but Randy Orton's career got better because then he went on and now he's a heel and he's probably having like the best one of his career with like ripping people's ears off and trying to rip people's fingers and breaking them and taking masks off and Randy Orton probably now is having one of the best runs of his career. And but I don't know where he's been lately. He's been out. He had a match with Triple H at Super Showdown. Hasn't been seen since. I guess he's just like, yep, see ya guys, bye.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Then you have Jinder Mahal, who went on to have a crappy reign as WWE champion. Remember that great Shinsuke Nakamura feud? How awesome that was.
Oh yeah, where they made fun of him because he was Asian.
Yeah. And then he lost. He finally lost the title. To AJ Styles. Finally, thank God.
What if
And it was
it turned out better because it's better. It would have been better than fucking Jinder and Brock. Instead, we got an actual really good match between Brock and AJ.
And then then he lost his rematch of Clash of Champions. Thank God. And he basically too. It's been a gradual fall for Jinder Mahal. He went to the mid card, won the U.S. title. Let's just point out too, Jinder Mahal, the guy that everyone hated the most in that match, won the U.S. title against the guy that pinned the guy that was the most over in the match in Rusev. That was really stupid.
Yeah.
Then he lost it 8 days later. And then basically, too, he had like one match with Roman Reigns. And then it was just a gradual fall. Think about it, too. He went from like having a match with Roman Reigns to the next night back to the Shanti gimmick. And now he's pretty much he doesn't have the Sin Brothers anymore. And think about it, that's the crappiest thing about this. The Sin Brothers had to give up their careers for this crappy professional wrestler. And you know what? I have to say, this push is not Jinder Mahal's fault because this was a push he wasn't even ready for to begin with. Because had they do what we all recommended, had he come back and like been on a tear, like right when he came back and just been destroying people, maybe people would have like been more open to the push. I don't think they would have loved. I don't think anyone ever was gonna like love the push, but they would have been like, okay, you build the guy up enough, might as well give him the title. But that's not what happened. He just was jobber to main event in like literally 3 weeks. So that sucks. I will point out too, this match we voted as the worst match of the year in our year-end awards. I thought it was the worst match everywhere else. On the Wrestling Observer, it's not, and No DQ, it's not. But let me see if I can find our year-end awards real quick, and see if I can, I just want to say what the matches were that we voted as worst.
I don't know. Oh, that can't be ranked as the worst.
Yeah. Well, Wrestling Observer voted Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton at WrestleMania this year, and No DQ voted Roman Reigns Undertaker at WrestleMania. Well, not this year, but that year.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Where is worst match of the year? Because I have it here somewhere. Okay. We have. Trying to find. I just had it a second ago. Okay. I have most disappointed, but worst match of the year. So yeah, the one that we said. I don't know if you remember this one, but Tegs Ferguson and Chad Too Bad versus the Clauses, that took a street fight that like Gallows and Anderson and like Heath Slater and Rhino had.
That was awful.
The Kendo Stick on a Pole match with Alexa Bliss and Bayley. House of Horrors. And the dishonorable mention on this show, Baron Corbin versus Shinsuke Nakamura at Battleground. And then we have most disappointed match, which I'll just read real quick. It was Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens. By the way, Battleground again ties in at Battleground. Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke Nakamura at Backlash. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown men's match. Dishonorable was Asuka versus Emma. Ember Moon versus Nikki. The 4-way Ember Moon versus Nikki Cross versus Kairi Sane versus Peyton Royce. Just saying. So yeah, Battleground was in most disappointing, and also Battleground was in worst show of the year because this show sucks. We're just gonna do the letter grade now.
Worst show
this
ever.
Show is a piece of shit. It gets an F. That kind of it's I know the New Day and the New Day and Usos match unfortunately isn't enough to save this show.
No, it's not.
Which sucks. But what more could they have done? So they could have had a 5-star match and it wouldn't have saved this show.
God.
And it was voted worst show of the year in the Wrestling Observer, NoDQ.com. Our year-end awards are the ones that matters the most.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was just a really bad show. Now, is it the worst show I've ever seen in my life, though? I don't think so. I think King of the Ring 95 is worse. Um, the Saudi Arabia shows are worse. More so, I think Crown Jewel is definitely worse than this show. And I have Super Showdown might not be worse, but as terms of politically, these are worse shows. And then ECW December to Dismember 2006 is probably worse because that killed a whole brand. So that's the thing about this show. This show is really bad, but it didn't kill the company. It didn't you know the only thing, and King of the Ring 95. Let's take a look. You had Mabel winning King of the Ring. ECW December to Dismember 2006 killed a whole brand. You have Crown Jewel, which is a show that shouldn't have even happened to begin with. So I think if I was to, if it would be up there on the worst shows, it's probably like top 5 of worst I've ever seen in my life. But it's definitely not worse than Crown Jewel, King of the Ring 95, and ECW December to Dismember 2006. If you would have asked me, those would probably be like top 3. Because those shows are like, you think this show is bad? You ain't seen nothing yet. Is it the worst show you've seen, or have you seen worse?
Oh no, it's about the worst show I've ever seen.
Well, you didn't watch the whole Crown Jewel though, so you can't really use that as a perspective.
This is the worst show I've ever seen.
There you go. Yeah, F. This show's an F. And yeah, now we got to pick a new retro.
Yeah, it's an F. I didn't give us already for the last match.
Oh, I didn't either. -3.
You know what it's gonna be?
What?
An FU. That's what it's gonna be.
Okay.
Doesn't even get anything. That's like beyond a fuck you. That's what that match gets.
Did you ever give your star rating to Mike Kanellis and Sami Zayn, by the way, or did I forget?
1.
Okay. And then I give this match -4 3/4, and it only gets half of a quarter because of that Sin Brother bump. That's all. So, there you go. Yeah, this show sucks. I'm glad we did the retro because now I never have to watch the show again. So isn't that awesome? Like, now that we've done the retro, we never have to watch the show again.
Oh, thank God.
I'd
rather fucking eat yarn than do that and watch that show again.
Well, you don't even have to watch like 5 minutes of this show ever again. But
thank God.
Now we got to pick a new retro. I forgot that James has the next pick, and I didn't message him. Because I want to have my next pick when I sleep over your house, so that way I'll say what my next pick is. It's gonna be anything Extreme related because Extreme Rules is coming up, and so it's gonna be any show that has like some type of extreme match on it, whether that's a ladder match, table match, TLC. It could be a past Extreme Rules pay-per-view. I'm just gonna guess that James is gonna pick like some type of old ECW show, just because I could see him doing that, which would be nice because we haven't done it. We haven't really done much ECW shows. We've only did so.
But I can think of it. I don't think we've done very many.
Yeah, so. But we don't know what James is gonna. Let me see if I can get a hold of him. I'm gonna call him. And put him on the spot. He might be taking a test, but I'm gonna call him anyways.
He'll be taking a shit.
Imagine that. Let's see if he answers.
Answer it. Answer. We need an answer.
Yo, what's up?
What's up? I'm filming a video right now with Chris. Chris, say hi.
Hi.
And we're doing the
Hi.
retro wrestling review series, and you have the next pick for a pay-per-view. But I forgot to tell you last night, so I'm calling you now. Yeah, you're on video right now.
Hi, everyone.
I have to tell you, though, your stipulations. So since Extreme Rules will be coming up soon, I've decided that it's going to be any show that has, like, anything extreme related. So it could be any show that has like a ladder match. It could be any show that has like a TLC match, Extreme Rules match. It could be a past Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So it could be any of that. So it could be a past like ECW show, whether that's of that brand or WWE. So I don't know if you have one in mind right now, but any ECW shows you have. I mean, any retro you have in mind.
Have we done the ECW One Night Stand 05 yet?
We have not.
Bingo. There it is.
All right. So I just wanted to call in. Do you want to do your plugs too, since you're on? I know it sounds like it just woke you up. I kind of feel bad, but it's also 2 in the afternoon.
No. I just have to be quiet, but I'll be quick with the plugs. YouTube.com/user/JHubertside95. That's JHEBERTSIDE95. Twitter is also at JHubertside95. Also check out my CIW Wrestling League. YouTube.com/user/WYW Pride.
There you go. We'll have to get, and for ECW One Night Stand 05, we have to get Casey and Mike in on that because they wanted to review that show. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'll talk to them about it.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Right. So you heard it's going to be ECW One Night Stand 2005, which is technically like a WWE/ECW show. So
yeah,
there you go.
That. You kind of predicted it.
We did. I think I kind of pushed him to that level because I said it could be, an ECW. But I feel like he was definitely gonna pick that show. So there you go. I feel like the Extreme Rules one will be fun to do because we can do any shows like open with like an extreme stipulation. So I'll say my pick. When on that one. But that's pretty much it. We have nothing else to talk about. We're finally done with this dreaded retro wrestling.
And I was dreading it.
Notice too how I just want to point out too, like me and Chris talked for like a half hour because we really didn't want to do this review because it sucks. But we did it, got through it. And I feel like too, I haven't seen ECW One Night Stand 05. Hopefully that will be a better show to do. We'll have to wait and see. Did we do letter grades? I don't think we did. Did we do letter grades?
Me too. I think everyone knows what this is going to be.
An F.
Clearly, it's clearly an F.
Yeah. All right. So, anything you want to plug or promote before we sign off?
You can catch me, not literally, figuratively, on Wrestling Rundown, whenever the fuck we do it, or the Wrestling series.
Wednesday. It comes back Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to do it.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna be around Wednesday night.
What about Thursday?
Thursday, yes. Marking with my dad in the morning.
I'll just tell you what to be prepared to watch. Thursday, be prepared to watch all NXTs, all NXT UKs, and a 205 Live.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, and obviously you can check it. We can check you out here. Because ECW One Night Stand 05. You got a Retro Wrestling Review series. Got to review that.
We're reviewers here.
Yeah, and then obviously you can check me out on CM Brothers Wrestling 1444 and on the Talkinator. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.